Why are you laughing? No, why are you laughing? Right, okay, guys. Thank you very much for today and for the opportunities that we have had. I see you are happy. I don't really know why. Me, I don't want to say anything. But thank you very much. Over the past few weeks, we've been interacting, and it's been a nice journey. Today is our last lecture, and probably the last time that I will see some of you. Am I even seeing you? You are just looking at me. But why are you so happy today? Well, let me introduce myself properly to you. I'm Reverend Dr. Kweku Wama. I'm a Methodist minister. Yes, I know that's why you are laughing. Today you have seen me in clerical, and you are surprised that I remember one of my students who was a minister's daughter. She didn't know. After teaching her on one occasion, they were transferred, and then they came to Accra, and she saw me preaching in church, and she was so surprised, and she said, so far. Yeah, I had to disguise myself for a very good reason. You know, I have been saying from our first lecture that in this course we are using an approach that is agnostic, if you remember, agnostic. So we don't believe in anything and we don't allow anything to influence. So I feel that it is proper and better that I don't present myself as a Christian, so that we can do the logical aspect of the faith. I know I've asked some very serious questions. I have given many of you a lot to think about, yeah, in this course. But that is how we study religion in this approach, and is the best of all, because at the end of the day, you tend to question yourself, especially the question about why you pray before you eat. So don't have an answer. Right, so when we get to church, we do what the church does, and then when we are in the classroom, we have to behave as such, so that it will also give confidence to other people who are not Christians to equally express themselves and express themselves well. Over the years, I've been teaching Islam in other places, and I have a strong background in Islam, and Hinduism, Buddhism, and many other religions. I'm a reader. I read. I don't get myself in a hole, you know. So that is why I'm able to project myself as that. So now you can stop laughing and you can understand why I did what I did. But I'm a Methodist minister, and I have 7 various capacities. I mean, that's not necessary here. So let's go on to our deliberations. At least now you know I'm an osopho, so you can take things cool. Yeah. Yes. Over the last few weeks, we've been interacting via this medium, and you have not been very happy. I have not been very happy as well, because if we were in class, it would be more enjoyable. But I'm most grateful to all of you who've been on the page, and the other aspect is that I realize that many of you tend to like the videos, because I try as much as possible to make it lively, and so that you can keep up, because I know it's not easy. I mean, learning via this medium. I have done it anyway. My master program was largely via some of these means, and so I've gone through it, so I know how it feels, and the many assignments that you are getting yourself into. Sure. But as I'm saying, it's been a good journey, and I'm happy for the interaction. The only plea I have for you is that you continue to do religion. And yes, one of you mentioned that if I give you the handout, you do religion. Sure, you people. Even when I'm not giving you the handout, some of you, I know you've been downloading the videos. I know there are a good number of you also what you do is that when I project the screen, you take pictures of it, and then you've been putting it together and doing all kinds of things with it. Yes, I know. So you don't even need what do you call the handout after all. But you are saying that the previous lectures, same when that is where I can also play my something. So you don't have it. I'm sorry, but you do well. You do very well. You do very well. You do very well in the exam. I am hopeful that maybe all of you will pass. I mean, won't pass. I won't go worry. But you just don't pass. You answer the questions, you pass, and then we give it to you. It's as simple as that. So that is just about today's lecture is going to be quite short, so don't worry. And then again, with regard to the exam, I proposed last week that we are going to use 28th of May. I got a response from a number of you that 28th you have I, and so we have decided to hold on to the exam, but it will be communicated to you in your various platforms. So watch out. I don't have the date yet. We wanted to have done it in the first, because I actually wanted you to do it early enough so that you can have time for your other courses, but it looks as if it's not a good time. And now I have to wait also so that it doesn't clash with some of your courses. So we are doing a lot of interactions to see. So whenever the date is up, I'm going to put up the date. It will certainly be in June, therefore. But the other side of the coin is that after today, tutorials are going to go on. Yes, tutorials are going to go on. And I've told you we are giving marks for attendance. It's unfortunate. So those of you who have not been going for the tutorials, there's very little I can do. We are giving marks, 5 good marks for attendance to tutorial, and then 5 good marks for your participation. So 10. So the 5 for the participation, I'm using your submissions at on Sakai and Socrative to award that 5 marks. So that's the best way I can go about it. And so, well, if you have not been listening, you have not been doing anything, I can't help you, because many of you have not been going on Sakai to answer the questions on Sakai, and that is why I'm a bit worried for those persons. But I hope that, because you know about the 70-30 thing, and so it's just like that, 70-30. 70 for your continuous assessment and 30 for the exam. Now for the exam, as you know, we are going to have it on Sakai. You are going to do objective tests as you've been doing, but this time round you won't get 1 for 1 mark. You are going to get 2 for 1 mark. So 30 good questions. So you all of you are going to answer 60 questions for 30 marks. Yeah, I've said the questions. I've said the questions. So 60 questions for 30 marks, and that is what you are going to be doing. Again, in the exam, as you well know, your questions are not going to be the same. And I realize that for some of you in the exam, in the IA and the test that we've been doing, you go on it, you take a picture of the questions, and then you put it on your platforms, and you are discussing before you go and answer, because you have the whole day. So now I have checked, and I realized that largely when I put up questions, you are able, Sakai gives me the time that you spend on the entire test. It's with some of you 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do this time around is that when you go on, because it's 60 questions, I'm going to give you a minute for a question. Yeah. So once you enter, there is a duration of 1 hour to solve all the questions, because you can, it's fine. A minute, because there's exam, so we have to tighten up a lot of the securities. So if you go and you take questions and you are now going to discuss and you are going to whatever before you answer, it won't be my problem. When you are shut out, you are shut out. Because after an hour, you'll be shut out. 1 minute for a question is too much. It's just too much. It's just too much. And so those of you who have internet problems, please, on the day of the exam, kindly try as much as possible to get a good internet. After 1 hour, you are shut up. And when you write to me or you call me or you do whatever, you talk to my teaching assistants that you could not finish, well, it won't be my cup of tea. So please, get a good internet. Let me repeat it. Get a good internet. Get yourself ready. You will have the whole day. Yes, as for that one, I won't take it because people have various schedules. So I'm going to give you the whole day. Or I should even cut it. Because some of you no, it's because of your behavior. Actually, that's why I'm not giving you the scripts, the slides. For instance, the ones that we have done already, if I give them to you, next year, you give it to your other, those who come after you next year. And then they will be skipping lectures. They won't come for lectures and all kinds of things. But you know, I will get them. I know some of you have been downloading the videos and I'm going to point them to it. After I've not taken it off YouTube. But after the whole course, I'm going to shut it. And so, if you have downloaded it and you are going to give it to next year class so that they don't come for class, it's their own cup of tea. You know how I do it. So creative. There and there, if you come to class, instantly after the lecture, 5 minutes, I've closed it. I'm gone. And so if you don't do it, you because I'm not, and you know, so creative, I don't open it before the lecture. Just when I finish the lecture, that's when I open it. So if you don't come to class, you won't be able to answer, or you call your friends that okay, I know how to get them. So because of the way you have been behaving, that is why we have. So I think I'll close the gaps. I'll give you a bit of update on it. Close the gaps, and then you will be on your own as to how you want to go about it. So prepare for the exam. You're going to have 60 questions for 30 marks. And so I even wanted to have done it 4 questions for 1. Guys, 4 questions, no 1 mark. Who is there? Why is that? I'm in a sample. Okay, I'll think about it and then I'll notify you. I know you don't like it, but I think half for it is good enough. So we'll see how it goes. And certainly you are going to be in groups. Yeah, some who have been keeping you in groups, and so the questions are different. It's automatically generated. That Sakai is good, Papa. I know you don't like it. Anyway, so guys, let's get into our discussion for today quickly so that we can get out of here. It's going to be a short lecture, so don't worry. And then we'll see. But even more importantly, let's keep to the protocols, and then we'll pick it up. So our topic for today is ecumenism. 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 And that's a picture of the Christian Council of Ghana, just to show you where we are and what we are discussing. Now, the word ecumenism is derived from the Greek word oikonomia, which translates inhabited world. So it is from Greek and it means people coming together, inhabited world. So once they have they are inhabited in a place, they are together. In the early church, when issues of controversial nature came up with which threatened the unity of the church, a meeting of bishops were called every part of the world and to settle the issues. You know, we mentioned earlier that the early church had a number of issues, and if you remember, we talked about the First Jerusalem Council, which was chaired by John, when Paul had planted churches and people went around and were seeing all kinds of things against the church. And so the ecumenical movement can be traced way back into biblical times, where the leaders of the church will come together, irrespective of denominations and the backgrounds. They come together and they have a discussion. So if you would remember, in Islam, you did ijma and qiyas. It's like that, where the leaders of the church, when there is a problem, they come together, they discuss it and take a position so that they can foster what is going on. And so that is ecumenism. The word ecumenism in current use basically refers to issues relating to Christian unity and relates between Christians of different denominations, different theological persuasions, or different geographical areas. And so ecumenism is organized differently so that it doesn't matter the denomination, Methodist, Presby, Anglicans, whoever, they will come together. And then it doesn't also matter their theological differences. Yeah, sometimes you say that the Presbyterians are quite close to us as Methodists, but then there are differences, and yet we meet together. And then again, it doesn't matter their geographical areas, so that you sometimes some will be in the north, others will be in the south, and yet they are together, and so they come together to solve certain problems. The concept of ecumenism has been raised to many organizations at the international, national, and regional level. So even at international levels, so that's what we're talking about, geographical locations, so that sometimes even at the international, Nigerians and Ghanaians will all come together and do all kinds of things in the way of preserving the sanctity of the church. Some ecumenical organizations are the World Council of Churches. You may have heard about them, World Council of Churches, so that sometimes they come together to discuss common issues that affect the Church of God. All African Conference of Churches is also another breed of the Council of Churches. And then historically, the word was originally used in the context of large ecumenical councils that were organized under the auspices of the Roman Empire to clarify matters of Christian theology and doctrine. You heard about the Council of Nicene, you heard about the Council of Trent, you have heard about the Council of Constantinople and all others that were held. These are held to discuss issues about the church. It is not all Christians who are favorably disposed towards the ecumenical movement. There are some Christian organizations who decide not to be a part of these movements. You can talk about the Jehovah's Witnesses. You can talk about some other church organizations who feel that they don't want to be part of such groupings. And that is because for some church organizations, it's once they are coming together, it is a mark of how do I put it, the end time, because they are all becoming one and stuff, so they would want to disassociate themselves. In fact, some fundamental Christian groups have described the World Council of Churches as an instrument of Satan to control the churches and to put the church, you see, especially if you are one of those troublesome types. You don't want to be part of the organization so that they will control you. Because sometimes there are some people who are asking, so the Christian Council, why don't they control the Obinims and the Prophet ones and the rest? But they are not part of the group, so you can't regularize them. So that's the whole picture. So many of these things come on. Now the goal of the ecumenical movement are largely three: to unify the churches, so that when the churches come together as one, you see, they get a big voice and they say the same things, and so it helps. Yeah. Secondly, to provide a platform to deal with common problems. You remember Qiyas and Ijma, when Muslims meet and Muslim leaders meet and take decisions. Yeah. So they come together to solve common problems. We have a problem with, let's say, homosexuality. What is our position as a church, as a ecumenical movement, as Christian? Then they will come out with one position, even though on this they are divided. Many Christian churches, some support, others don't. Some even, for instance, like for us as Methodists, in the Methodist Church, the Methodist Britain supports it, is working to support it, while the Methodist Church Ghana say no. In the Anglican Church, UK, London, you see, but then there are differences that serve on. And then it also serves as a learning platform. When they meet on these ecumenical fronts, the churches learn from other churches so that they can better serve the needs of the church. In Ghana, there are three major levels of the ecumenical movement. There are the national level, the local, and the grassroots level. So let's focus on the national levels, for instance. At the national levels, ecumenical movement, largely we have four. They are more than anyway, but then largely four of them are key. The Christian Council of Ghana, the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, and let me say that these are not arranged in any order of preference, or let me say that in in order of importance. No, they are just listed. And then there are the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches. And then we have the National Association of Charismatic and Christian Churches. And so if you take, for instance, the Christian Council of Ghana, they are made up of largely the historical mainline churches. So the Methodist, the Presby, the Anglican, the the Baptist Church, and others. So the historical, not historical mainline, the Protestant churches, because the Catholics are not part of the Christian Council of Ghana. The Catholics are different, and so we would rather say that they are the Protestant churches, the Protestant churches. And then when you take the Catholic Bishops' Conference, this is where the Catholics bishops, Catholics run the Episcopal system, and so each diocese or some archdioceses have their own thing, but their bishops come together to raise issues of concern regarding education. And recently, that they raise issues with the comprehensive sexuality education. Yeah, they come out with some of this. And then you have the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches. So the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches will take care of the Pentecostal churches, the Assemblies of God, the Church of Pentecost, the Christ Apostolic, those Pentecostal churches. Last week we went into the various classification of the Pentecostal churches. And then the National Association of Charismatic and Christian Churches will largely focus on the charismatic churches. And so you have the Lighthouse Chapel, you have the Mega Church, you have the Action Chapel, you have the ICGC, you have those belonging to that kind of group. Like I said, these are just 4 major. There are other groups that, for instance, we have the Ghana Prophetic Movement Council also, and that is headed by Prophet Elijah Salifo Amako. So those in the prophetics, they also have their own group, so that we can have the this man who prophesies only during election in Ghana, that MPP man. The one who prophesied that the chief imam was going to die, and when we showed him, hey, I have showed you I'm a Christian now, okay. When they showed him a little, he went to beg. That's gravity. So so those other organizations are also there. So when we look at these 4, these are their leaders so far. So the Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafu, who is my presiding bishop, is the chairman for the Christian Council of Ghana. And then the Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Manson is for the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches. So the Church of Pentecost and others fall under his domain. And then the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan William, the Papa, he is in charge of the National Association of the Charismatic Christian Churches. So those charismatic churches, classical Pentecostals, will fall under his domain. And then the Most Reverend Philip Name, he is the chairman of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference. And so they discuss a lot of the issues. So you see their pictures, and I'm sure you recognize where this picture is taken from when we had the COVID-19 fast. So I just had to do a little editing so that we can have benefit of learning. That is learning. Hey, Adisiano, no. And when you see them, you're happy. And these are the men of God. So at the national level, others like the African Independent Churches and the Charismatic Churches have their own ecumenical councils at the official level. Occasionally, the various councils come together to discuss and jointly respond to critical national issues on education, on health, on politics, and on various other issues. So they come together to help to resolve some of these impasse. Then at the local level, the national council disseminates information to them. So, for instance, you would have the Accra chapter of the Accra chapter of the Christian Council of Ghana. See, so it trickles down and then it goes down. Or you can even have the Adenta chapter of the Christian Council of Ghana, so that it will be going down. Local council of churches in particular geographical area. So, for instance, those of us, I have lived in Mampong a good number of years, and then you have the Mampong local council of churches. So they all come together, all the churches in Asante Mampong, all the churches in, if I were a neighbor, I would have come from Africa, but it's around Japan. So Japan local council of churches. So that is where they come together and they promote the unity of the church at that level. They constitute all churches irrespective of other councils, irrespective of their beliefs and their doctrines. They come together to solve common problems. Now, also, at the local level, many towns and villages in Ghana have local council of churches which seek to promote Christian unity at the base and the community level. Such councils are usually formed through prompting by church leaders. So the church leaders will member together and let's think about what you call our society, so that and then they come together. Through the activities of such councils, Christians from different denominations in a particular area jointly organize educational programs. They organize educational sensitivity program, empowerment seminars, and all others to equip people of their congregation to master the art. Yeah. Again, in certain areas, the councils also mobilize their members of churches for social action, like cleanup exercises, like erecting of whatever, sometimes communal labor, reading around, and all kinds of things they come together to do for social action. Yeah. In recent times, some of the Pentecostal churches have advised their members to stay away from the activities of local council of churches. Yeah, because sometimes some of the churches think that it's evil and their members are stolen and all kinds of things. So, yeah, that's NIPA for you. At the grassroots level, this is usually unofficial, but a lot of things go on. At the grassroots level, there is a form of ecumenism, which, though not organized and has no connection with the official church hierarchy, is yet a reality. In many Ghanaian communities, there is the phenomenon of active Christians unity, which transcends denominational differences. The closest manifestation of this phenomenon is found in the charismatic movement. Then sometimes you see that, oh, we are just a fellowship. We are just a fellowship. Oh, Mumra, now let's come together. We are just a prayer meeting. We'll just meet on the park and pray. As usual, we just meet on the park and pray. Oh, as for us, we don't go on denominational lines. We just gather at this place or that place and we study the word of God. We just so those ones, they don't have any official bargain. The leadership of the church may not even know. They don't know. Just an exuberant person who may be usually a young person or a youthful person, called together members of the vicinity or the areas that, oh, come, we, as for us, it doesn't matter what background, and then they do all kinds of things. So what are the features of ecumenical movement, or some of the things that they do? In the first place, prayer meetings are a major activity, and other programs are organized on non-denominational levels, such as All Christians All Night programs organized in various parts of the country, including university campuses. So they meet to pray a lot of the times. And then again, the second other point, Christians freely visit recognized gifted leaders, so that if, for instance, I'm in the Methodist church and I need counseling, okay, it doesn't matter if I have to go to Pastor Mensa Otabel for counseling or for deliverance, you see, or for healing. It doesn't matter because that is the essence. It helps for the sharing of the gift for the benefit of all. That is how Christians say, for the benefit of all. And so it helps for free movement, even though sometimes you are afraid when your members are going to these places because sheep stealing. And then the free use of common worship styles. So they learn from many of them, and the type of musical preference of choruses. You know, for instance, in the Methodist Church in time past, we had issues. A lot of our members were leaving, and so we realized, okay, then let's start the youth service so that it will make up for it. And so many of these things do happen. And last week I realized that many of you enjoyed my voice. Unfortunately, more so seed. But but you see that sometimes when they give the way music is sung in many of these charismatic churches are finding their ways into the youth services and the YPG meetings. Yeah, because they share the common worship style, so that the members will stay. There is also shared belief and miracles and all kinds of things that when they meet together, they are able to learn from one another and to impact other persons. And so that helps. Right, as we bring the discussion to an end, I told you today is going to be a short lecture. What is the connection? It seems what removes the denominational barriers between Christians at the grassroots is a common concern for the attainment of certain goals through the practices of their faith. Such goals include both material and spiritual ones. And so what we are saying is that the whole idea of ecumenism is like fighting the common enemy, which could be material or spiritual, so that they just come together. After all, the Bible says that all may be one. That was Jesus' prayer. And what they call the Presbyterian Church of Ghana has it as their motto, that all may be one. And so for that oneness to fight the common enemy, that is why the ecumenical movement exists. They try to come together and deal with the common problems so that they can get themselves together. So this is the Christian level. We see it as similar to Qiyas and Ijma as it is in Islam. So minna any in me any can I mean any me she say any sacre bo class any a cassier de p manso in the g last menyaji bo lecture ni ekubadon no minda nyefe yeshi nagodi mauna yira mikata kasa de mitibi. You can't take it from me. Anyway, right, so guys, thank you very much for today, and I'm happy you've been participatory on this. Let's prepare for the exam. The date will be communicated, and the content and all other issues will be communicated. I'm here in the University of Ghana, and so if you want to find me, my office is at the old School of Law. When I mentioned that, with people, you don't know. Okay, JQB, closer to JQB. Then, if you get to Leadership and Education, my office is on the last stretch, or just before you get to the Faculty of Art. It's closer to the Unique FM, and so you come closer. You go, you walk along. I think the last but one long buildings on your right. Then you find my office at the last end, and then we'll see if there are any help that you want us to give you. We'll see how best we can help. We are here to help one another and to grow together. So take time, and then please study well. We are in first year. You're going to go through the 4-year program or beyond. Let's learn, make time for yourself, and at the end of the day, know that you need to leave the University of Ghana with a good certificate. Yes, some of you are asking whether there will be assignment today on Sakai. When you go to Sakai, it will be there. Yeah, there will be something on Sakai for you this day. So just try and answer as much as you can. And I'm collating that it's part of the 70. So try your best and take good care of yourself. Thank you very much on this program. I'm most grateful for the time that we have spent together. God bless you, and take good care of yourself. Remember, the COVID is out there, and we have to keep secure. Please, let's do that which we have to do. Be nutritious, eat well, sleep well, study well, And at the end of the day, keep the protocols. Wash your hands. Don't forget your nose mask, please. Don't forget your nose mask. After all, if you don't have anything proper, anything that will benefit you and benefit society, don't go out. Why stay? Why go out when you can stay indoors? Well, let's preserve our lives and let's see how things go. Thank you so very much. I'm grateful to have come your way again. I'm grateful for the interactions that we have had through the weeks. And I hope and pray that I'll continue to see you in the faculty and in the Department of Religious Studies. Thank you very much. Bye.